The next thing is I want you to do is basically it's called the effects of a cause. All right, you all know this, yeah? So let me explain it to you this way. All right. So the effects of a cause really, if you wanted to sum up what the whole course is about, all right, what's this all about in a couple of short paragraphs, all right? Let's look at it this way. Here you have oneness.
Are cause and effect not the same?
Huh?
Cause and effect the same.
Well, what makes a cause is that it has effects. If it has no effect, there's no cause. All right, but we'll get to that in a second. I'll show you. So here we have the state you could call of heaven, which is the state of oneness. Okay? And here you have basically God and God's Son. Okay? That's what heaven is, God and God's Son. Here is the separated self. Okay? And here you have the separation. Okay? So this is kind of to show you what the whole thing's about. All right? In a short kind of little synopsis. So here we are in heaven, okay? And heaven is the state of oneness. All right? And that means God and God's Son is in this state of oneness, and we are all God's Son. We are the Christ as Jesus is. All right? Now, the meaning of life is this. Okay? We had to make believe that we were separate. So that means that we as God's Son went through the separation to here. Why did we do that?
Wanted to have a laugh. We thought we wanted to have a laugh.
No, it's much more profound. A lot of people will disagree with you, because they're not having a laugh. They see this as hell. So why did we do this? In other words, what's this all about? Why did we make ourselves believe that we were separate?
Use that so we can become conscious and happy.
Right. This is why. Okay? Because here we can't know ourselves. Why?
There's no separation.
There's no separation. Because here, God and God's Son is in total oneness. So there's no way that you can have separation here in heaven. Okay? So there's no way that we can know ourselves in heaven. So the only way that we could know ourselves, right, what Jesus said 2,000 years ago, know thyself. Okay? The only way that we could know ourselves was to go through the belief in separation. So I'm going to put in here the belief in separation. The belief in separation. So, we had to make ourselves believe that we were separate to know ourselves. Because the belief in separation was cutting ourselves off from God completely. We had to believe that 100%. And so how did we believe that 100%? What made us believe that? What still makes us believe that?
We're separate.
Yeah.
Ego.
Which is pain. Pain. That's the purpose of the body. This is why Jesus says bodies are separate but minds are joined. When we look at each other, we see each other separate from us, okay? So the body, okay, is very important in this equation because the body and the pain in the body says that we're separate. There's a line in the Course that says, when there's pain, there's no God. When there's God, there's no pain. Okay? So, the pain in the body confirms the belief in separation is real. Isn't that right? So what's the motivation for waking up? Stopping the pain.
So we call it healing.
Yeah. Healing what?
Well, pain, healing the separation.
Yeah. It's only the belief in the separation. So you can see now how what this is really all about here. Okay? We had to believe that the separation was real. So therefore, we chose a body, a separated self, which composes of a personality, a persona, and a shadow, okay, that confirms that the separation is real. Why? So we can know ourselves. So, here's the key, okay? Now, the journey back again. We have come this way, we have went through the belief in separation, we have come into the separated self, okay? Here's the key, going back up again now, all right? We have to let go of the separated self. Yeah? We have to let this go. And that means the you who's studying, reading, and practicing forgiveness in A Course in Miracles doesn't exist. And this is why there's so much pain, because we're holding on to a part of ourselves that we have to let go. And that part is the separated self, or you could call this self the ego. Okay? So this is the paradox that's in A Course in Miracles. Everybody who starts out doing A Course in Miracles, it's their personality who is drawn into the Course. So it's the personality then who's doing the Course that you actually have to undo. So it's like the turkey voting for Christmas. Do you know? The you that's doing the Course is actually now somewhere along the line that you have to say, you know.
Is that going from I am to am?
Yes. The I must go, because there is no I. Alright? So, the separated self is know thyself. Okay? When Jesus was talking about know thyself, he was talking about know thyself that thou is not. You're shaking your head? Okay, and this is the most difficult part of A Course in Miracles for people to actually get their heads around, is to let this self go. So let's say, all right, you let this self go. This is the self-awakening. This is where you become self-conscious. This is where you look at yourself now and you go, I'm not my personality. I am not my persona, and I am not my shadow. So what happens is you have to bring the persona, the shadow, and the personality all into oneness. And that's what forgiveness does. Forgiveness brings the shadow into the personality. Forgiveness brings the persona into the personality. And once the shadow and the persona are brought back into the personality, then the separated self dissolves. And you move now to the next stage. And the next stage then is the belief in separation. We've made the belief in separation real. Okay? Now we have to make it unreal. So this, just to show you what this is all about. And everything stems now from one cause. So, separation, guilt, fear. Okay? You have three primary causes. Okay? The cause of fear is the belief in guilt. Yeah? The cause of guilt is the belief in separation. So, let's look at how cause and effect works this way. Because each one of these also has effects. All right? So, the separation, let's look at that. Grief. All grief, all loss, which is the same thing, comes from the belief in the separation. Yeah? These are all the emotions. These are all the negative emotions that we face. All right? Then you have loneliness. Have we all experienced loneliness? Comes from what? The belief in separation. We all have lack. We have all experienced lack. Lack of love. Okay? Lack of abundance. Lack of money. All of these lacks all come from one cause, the belief in separation. Okay? The sense of sin also comes from the belief in separation. Okay? Every belief that you hold, all your beliefs stem from one belief, which is the belief in separation. Okay? And even death. Okay? Death comes from the belief in separation. So you see here, all of these are effects of a belief in separation. So let's look at guilt, because it has its own number of effects. Okay? Anger.
Michael, can I ask you, if you clear that belief in your system, do these things stop being experienced materially?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
It's impossible that it can't.
okay.
But let's just follow this. I'll come back to this at the end. Right. Guilt, which is an effect of the separation, also has a list of its own effects. So every time that you're angry, it's coming from your belief that you're guilty. And all anger is an attempt for you, by you, to project your guilt onto someone else. Okay? When you're irate, okay? Same thing. Anytime that you're annoyed, it's coming from your belief in guilt. All sickness, every bit of sickness that you experienced and ever will experience comes from one place and one place only. Guilt. All cancer comes from guilt. Every ounce of suffering comes from your belief in guilt. Shame. All shame comes from the belief in guilt. Every time you're blaming someone else, all blame comes from the belief in guilt. And every sense of unworthiness, all sense of unworthiness comes from the belief in guilt. Okay? Let's look at fear. All attacks come from fear. Every person that you see attacking another person, human being, like Jesus says in the Course, is coming from fear. Fearful people can become very vicious. All anxiety comes from fear. All grievances comes from fear. All pain comes from fear. All hate comes from fear. Okay? The sense to kill comes from fear. And all resistance comes from fear. Okay? So what I'm trying to show you here, right? When you bring everything back to the cause, bring this back to the cause, bring this back to the cause, bring this back to the cause, there's only one belief that you need to heal everything. Every bit of pain, suffering, hate, murder, every sense of loss, lack, loneliness, sin, death, shame, suffering, annoyance, anger, anxiety, pain, all come from one cause and one cause only, the belief in separation. And it's that belief here, right, that we now must undo after making it so real for ourselves so that we could waken up. Okay? Now we have to undo it again. We made the belief in separation, now we have to unmake it again. And this is the meaning of life. Any questions?
How do we begin? I mean, that's a little bit, but I mean in real terms, like the course is obviously the way.
Yeah. Forgiveness.
Sounds so simple.
It is simple. It really is. And this is why some people can't get over there. Jesus says throughout the whole course, this is a simple course. This is really a simple course. Okay? So one of the great tools for, if you look at that, the most powerful tool in the course for dealing with this here is called complete forgiveness. Because it takes the very core of all our emotions. All of these emotions are in complete forgiveness, and we bring them all back to the truth. So if you look at the videos or the concepts of complete forgiveness, all our emotions stem from either sin, guilt, or fear. All of them. So when you're experiencing any of these, okay, you bring each of them back to the cause, the truth, which is the belief in separation, the belief in guilt, or the belief in fear. You're always undoing the cause. When you undo the cause, you're undoing all of the effects. So back to your question, Elish, when you undo the cause of guilt or fear or separation, one of the things that basically I experienced revelation as a revelation cause. And if you read what revelation is, it says it's the temporary suspension of all doubt and fear. Okay? So in the last 7 years, I have never experienced any fear, any guilt, or any sense of separation. And that's why I've never experienced any of these. When there's no cause, there's no effects. So that's the answer to your question. Once you undo this, and I don't like the point where it says it's temporary. Like I keep thinking, I don't know, a minute here, it's not really very fair to give me this and then take it away from me again,
Well, are you in that state of what they call the happy dream?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I say, not for 1 second have I felt any fear, any doubt, any guilt in those 7 years.
And it's continuous.
It's continuous all the time. Because I'm in my center all the time. And I don't seek anything outside myself. And maybe that's why I don't seek anything outside myself, is because I have that connection. Because I don't have this sense of separation. I don't have this sense where there's anything between me here and here.
Did it come and stay?
Yeah. Yeah. And not only did it come and stay, it grew. And it's growing all the time.
Because I know for myself, when you meditate and you get that oneness,
Yeah.
and then you start feeling it slipping away, like
Yeah.
most of the folks in the group that I have had
Yeah.
mystical experiences, and we can't maintain it.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Because I believe in one of those.
It's attachments. People will get the experience, and there's many people here in Ireland the same. They're getting more and more, and they're having the experience for more and more of the time. But they can't keep it in a continuous basis, for the simple reason is they have attachments, and it's the attachments that keep pulling them out of that space. When you let go, when you cut all your attachments that you have outside yourself, then there's nothing there that's going to pull you outside yourself. So you can have attachments to the world, and you can have attachments to the body, and you can have attachments to other bodies. The course calls them special relationships. Okay? And that means you can be seeking for love outside yourself, but you're also seeking to hate people outside yourself. So every time you see guilt in someone, or every time you see somebody doing something wrong, you have stepped outside yourself because you want to see guilt in this person. Every time that you look out and you say, oh, I would love a relationship with this person or that person, you're stepping outside yourself because now you're seeking for love outside yourself. Okay? Every time that you seek for love outside yourself, you're denying that bliss that's within. I put a photo up on Facebook this week. Did you see it? You see it? Caused a little bit of stir, didn't it? And it was basically about this girl, and she's lying back having this unbelievable orgasm. All right? And I says, seek not for love outside yourself and feel the bliss within. And it's true. And it is true. There's an unbelievable abundance of pure bliss and it's orgasmic that's inside you. But you deny that to yourself every time that you're seeking for anything outside yourself.
Just in relation to the revelation, right? At that moment you realize there's no separation and guilt and fear automatically fall away.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have a revelation, be aware that you're not separate, but like the life review you mentioned earlier on, you still have to come back and undo the guilt and fear that you have pushed out onto the world. It's almost like a life review. Can you go back in revelation and then still be caught up with certain amounts of guilt and fear?
Of course you can. You see, because every day since that I've been making a choice. And I'm still in free will. So I can choose, not to do what I'm doing. I could have chosen many paths. I wasn't doing A Course in Miracles when I experienced revelation. What happened to me happened in 3 stages. The first stage was a week before my spiritual awakening. I surrendered the self. I looked at everything and I just basically surrendered it. I let it go. I don't know how I did it, but I did do it because I was in so much pain. The effect of that was that I had a spiritual awakening. I had an experience of my true self. The effect of that then, 4 months later, I had a higher self awakening. And within a week then, I was given the course. And someone gave me this book, with Diane, handed me this book as a present, and she says, make sense of that. And I opened it and started reading it, and that's when I was guided then to basically do the course and to be a teacher of the course. So I started hearing the voice within. I started hearing the voice of Jesus. So let's just, while we're doing this now, let's move to the voice, the 2 voices.